Hey.
Tony, what's up, buddy? I got you and all my friends on YouTube on camera right now. I had a couple questions for you. You got a second?
Go ahead.
All right, so I've got this big old mound of brush out here, and I know you're a Baumalight guy and you've got a brush mulcher. Have you ever tried using it as like a mower, or have you only used it for thick stuff?
Oh, no, I use it for a mower as well. You're talking about the one for the tractor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, now what I'll do sometimes is I'll back into it and mulch it up really good. And then also, like, if I'm just like going to redress a trail, I'll just drive around forward.
Okay. So I've got a bunch of big trees, big black walnuts, and I mean, it's hardwoods, so we're going to put this thing to a pretty good test. But there's a bunch of limbs down, so I thought about taking the rotary cutter out here, but then I was like, I really have to address this problem rather than, just keep driving around it. So we're gonna send it. We're gonna go straight through this stuff. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
All right, y'all. It's Tony. Tony's Tractor Adventures. So we're gonna do what he said. We're gonna send it. All right, so when I say there's a lot of stuff that has fallen down, a lot of branches and limbs, you can see these trees, they're older. You can see one back here that's fallen down, as well as this right here. So again, a rotary cutter is going to cut a lot of these branches and this, this kind of the smaller stuff. But when you get closer to the trunk, a rotary cutter is not going to eat this thing up. I don't even know that that mulcher could get this, but that's pretty thick. I do think that we can get a lot of this taken care of with the mulcher. So we're going to get started all the way down there, but I think we're going to come back and see if we can't get this thing at least to a manageable size, to where it's not laying here, to where, again, the rotary cutter is not going to be able to just roll over this thing. Okay, before we get too far into this job and this machine gets completely filthy, let's talk about what it is. This is a Baumalight MP560 brush mulcher. It's a PTO brush mulcher. Comes off the PTO shaft into a massive motor that spins this huge drum with all of these replaceable teeth on it. This thing is it's just an absolute beast. It's really hard to describe how heavy duty this thing is. I've worked with a lot of equipment, and I'm very, very, very impressed with how heavy it is, how beautiful the welds are. Look how thick this steel is. This is it is built to do very serious destruction. You own a big piece of property and you have a lot of trees and you're doing a bunch of chainsawing and mulching, and I don't even need a mulcher anymore. I don't need you put a tree in there, it shoots out mulch. This thing will turn everything to dust. If you watch our first video we did on it, it kind of left me speechless. They are a channel partner, but it doesn't matter. Like, we're always going to call it straight. If it was junk, I wouldn't do another video on it. This is probably the heaviest, most dense animal I've ever seen built for the back of a tractor. I know they make them for skid steers too. You can have this for the front of a skid steer. We may test one of those at some point, but right now the one that's on the back of the tractor, this thing is just a beast. This flap on top is hydraulic. This will come down almost like a rototiller, to where your rototiller cage will come down to more finely mulch the material that's in there. But if you really want to get a good bite at something like the base of a tree or a big pile of mulch, you can pull this thing up and it'll go right into it. So anyway, before we got too far into it, I wanted to kind of show you the features. It's got a push bar on it, and it's chains in the front, because it will shoot stuff under the tractor if you're not careful. So anyway, I just figured we'd talk through that before we really get started, but I think it's time to get started. All right, so the plan here is I'm going to go forward first. I'm going to lift it up a little bit, turn that PTO on. Man, that thing is a monster. I'm going to want to go slow. Again, I'm in a power shuttle tractor also. So ideally this would be on the back of like a hydrostat. So, but this thing will do it. And especially on something like this where we're trying to like do a trail or a bigger area, I think we're going to be just fine. And we're gonna try going forward through it, just see what happens. It's leaving that indentation, but I mean, we're on a hill. There's not much we can do about it, but that's what the rear looks like. And that's what it looks like in front of us. So this is kind of what we're doing here. Maybe you can just drive right through it. I don't know. I mean, we're going really slow. A bunch of thick stuff in front of us, and it's just turning to dust behind us. I wonder if I can bring that up a little bit. All right, so on this material, I don't know that we need to go backwards. It's doing a great job going forward. And even if I look at opening that gate, I don't know that the gate being closed or open really makes a big difference. Let's start going backwards and see what that does. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, but I think just for the sake of doing it, we should do it. So you do have to kind of just drive backwards, but I mean, a cab is incredibly nice in something like this because you're not worried about, you know, flying debris or dander and all the brush. And you know, if you have a seat like this, it's a pretty nice operator seat. You can just kind of turn sideways and it's not really that bad. It's like backing up a trailer, really. Let's try opening that gate, see if that gives us a little better bite on all these things. It goes without saying, we're also trying to keep an eye out for fawns. This time of year, the deer will be dropping fawns, and we don't want to make any mistakes. I know what the comments are going to be right now because I've been doing this long enough, and there's a lot of folks who are going to say, this machine is expensive, why would you do that? Why would you buy something like that that's just going to cut up brush? And the response to you would be, try not to ever buy a unitasker. What I mean by that, think about your pallet forks. How many of you only lift pallets with your pallet forks, right? A lot of you do a lot more than just lift pallets with pallet forks. And what I mean by that is that this brush mulcher clearly does more than just chew up and devour wood. Back to what I said earlier, you know, you have one trailer with a tractor, and you need to cut trails on your deer lease. I mean, I'm almost tempted, and I don't know if my friends at Baumalight would like this, but I'm almost tempted to make a food plot with this thing because I think it would just destroy the earth enough and, you know, tear up the earth enough to basically become a tiller. Say if you're at a deer lease or you're at a cabin property or something and you have to do some mowing, you have to clear some brush, you want to disturb some ground, maybe to plant some grass or plant some brassicas or clover or something for a little food plot, I don't know that you need to bring more than this attachment. All right, now let's talk about results, right? Now we're not done, we have more to do, but this is just tearing into the brush like we talked about. You know, this is going forward, this is going backwards. So I think going forward actually does better when you're just cutting brush than, you know, going in reverse, because you see it just doesn't seem to get as much of a bite. There's longer grass here than there is when you're going forward. I mean, it completely sheared the top off this rock. I mean, look at that. That is crazy. I mean, you can see the quartz in there. It just completely sheared that thing off. That's wild. And I mean, it's just turned all of that woody material into just nothing. I mean, it's absolutely destroyed it. Y'all tell me what kind of wood that is. I think that's walnut. It's a heavy wood though, I can tell you that. Yeah, look, it sheared the top off this rock too. I mean, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. So what we did today is a lot of mulching and a lot of really mowing. I mean, my question coming out here, as I said earlier, is, you know, is this one trick pony to where it just kind of mulches up trees and stuff and really thick stuff, or could it actually mow a trail? We called my buddy Tony. Tony actually said, yeah, I do it all the time to refresh a trail. And that's kind of what I did here. So I didn't really, you know, a rotary cutter would totally take this stuff down. You know, this stuff is going to be a little more dicey. I didn't get in there because, again, there's a dead limb up there. I've got to investigate that more. I don't want that falling on me or the tractor, so we'll just leave that like it is for now. But is it the cleanest cut? No. But if you're going to bring one machine and one attachment to your property, I'm really impressed with this thing. Now listen, I know you guys are going to give me a hard time saying, well, they're a channel sponsor. I get it. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. What matters to me, does it work or does it not work? And is there utility or not? Because I don't need stuff on my farm that doesn't do anything. I don't need stuff on my farm that doesn't help us. And this is amazing. Like, for this to have, you know, first of all, we also trimmed some limbs from at the top. You can see up here, I don't know if you can see that well enough, but this is walnut. So it took this walnut and absolutely destroyed it. Now, if this was someplace where I wanted it real neat, I'd go over this 2 or 3 times. That would just turn to dust, but that's going to break down and be perfectly fine. It's the big stuff we really had to get rid of, which you saw me kind of go over here. But, you know, as we're looking here, this is what it looked like. This is what it looks like now. If you're going out to your property or your deer lease or your, you know, vacation home or whatever it is, and you need to do some mowing or some trimming or take back some land, not everything's going to be stem, you know, woody and, you know, like saplings and wood. Sometimes you're going to run into stuff that is just, you know, really thick dirt and you know, vines and thorns. And I can't say how impressed I am with this thing. It sheared the top off of 2 rocks, you all. Like, and again, this is commercial equipment that's really built for skid steers and, you know, big heavy duty machines. Not so much tractors, but it flawlessly fits on the back of this thing. And driving forward, as you saw, it actually cuts really well driving forward. I love the gate. I think that this gate is a huge addition. It's very solid too. This is not flimsy at all. You can see the teeth, barely a mark on any of the teeth. They're just starting to get the paint worn off of them, and I've used it for probably about 5 hours so far. So really enjoying using this machine. And these teeth, you know, if they break or chip or come off, you just take this out and put another one on and you're fine. So anyway, this video has been, it's been eye-opening, to be honest. I mean, this is really the second time I've really put this thing to use, and I wanted to use different material because, like, doing the same thing over and over again, that's not really helpful to you guys. I don't think, like, me just mowing down trees with this thing is going to be as helpful to say, you know, if you rent something like this, which you can rent stuff like this. I mean, it's probably better for people to rent it than to buy it, unless you have a big piece of property or, you know, a reason for it. But if you're, you know, just clearing something once, and I mean, rental yards use these things. This is not a homeowner piece of equipment. This is the real deal. And seldom can we say that in a world where we have disposable items, and even in agricultural settings and with implements now, a lot of stuff is imported from China, a lot of stuff is from overseas, which there's nothing wrong. If that's what you can afford, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. You know, if it works for you, then there's nothing wrong with it. This is made in North America. This is welded and, you know, with the highest quality steel. This is not here to be disposable. I've said before, this machine will probably be on this farm as long as I am. It comes with a belt, comes with some teeth, and the people at Baumalight did not ask me to say one nice thing about it, and I probably acted a little more giddy than I should. I really can't think of anything I don't like about it. The only thing that's kind of, you know, not great about it is you have to look backwards. But guess what? That's what you have to do with a PTO in the rear. But with what we did today, if I was to do this again, I'd go forward the entire time. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. We really appreciate the support of the channel, watching other videos. Like, that really helps us, you know, the duration time, all those different things. You know, if you enjoy it, share it with your friends. We would appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, you know, come along. We have a lot more fun stuff to do with this machine, as well as other machines are on their way. And I cannot wait to share that stuff with you, but it's starting to get hot, so I'm gonna let y'all go. And I appreciate you watching. Joe the Farmer. We out.